Many years ago, probably about 10 years ago at this point, we were approached by an orchestra in, I believe it was in the Bronx, a community orchestra. And they somehow found out that I had been writing orchestral arrangements with Sol y Canto of Latin music. And they said, we want to commission you to compose a new piece, but we have to have a concept. So can you come up with an idea and write us a concept proposal? And this thought occurred to me that, well, that's it. We'll write something about food because, food and music, anytime somebody comes here from far away, those are the two things that keep them most tied to their culture of origin. And they're so closely related. So you could actually structure this as if, it were a suite and it was kind of like a meal. And every movement in the suite was like a dish in this meal.
Le gusta la remolacha a la muchacha y el aguacate. Le gusta el cuate, los pepinillos a los chiquillos y el ají. Me gusta a mí.
Music and food are the ideal way of bringing people that we love together. And we both love bringing our friends and family together around food. And it really is the way that we share of ourselves.
My approach to music tends to be pretty careful and thought out and composed. It's not largely improvised in form. Whereas the way I cook is almost all improvised. I rarely use a recipe. I've sometimes thought, I wonder if that means that I'm a much better cook than I am a musician, because it seems to come so naturally. I just think of stuff and throw it in, and most of the time it comes out good. All right. What I do, both with my music and I think even more so with my lyrics, is to try and present different points of view about things. Centrally, it's about how much Latin American culture has contributed to the culture of the United States. How much a part of the fabric of this country it is, and how much richer we are because of Latin culture. A lot of people don't have a very clear picture of how varied Latin America and its culture and its culinary traditions are. And it's like this whole world out there to discover. And if I can just give people an inkling of what's out there for them to look for, I'm happy about that.
I think there is something really magical about Latin music that I think it kind of reaches into this subliminal, subconscious space in our psyches and in our hearts. Rhythmically, melodically, everything about it. I mean, I think there's something primal about it, So I feel like it's just a natural expression, our Latin music, of who we are. And it's so intoxicating.
I always write about things that matter to me and things that I think about. So I guess, when I try and put out there what I'm thinking, there's going to be a didactic element to that.
To be able to express our hopes and our dreams and that which frustrates us about the world.
Sometimes you can express what you're for by expressing what you're against. And so, the first line of the song is, don't tell me about fast food, don't give me that garbage. I want food made with love, pride, and tradition. And from then, it turns it into a positive because it's an invitation to come into this meal. It says, come on in. Can you smell that? It's the most exquisite thing.
No me hables de fast food. No me des esa basura.
Culinary culture has been, commodified and plasticized and dumbed down and made uniform. And I'm trying to celebrate food that's different.
Brian certainly shows his creativity every day when he cooks for me and Alisa and Sonia.
Lluvia, tierra, sol, semilla y sudor, rinden con el tiempo, sustento.
I also wanted to celebrate, where this comes from. It says rain, earth, sun, seed, and sweat in time produce flavor and sustenance. So I also want to celebrate, the people that bring the food to us, the land that brings the food to us, and how wonderful it is to have all these things of different colors expanding your palate and bringing more flavors into the meal.
Estaba muy lejos de casa, en un lugar ajeno, cuando un olor a chiles me llevó a mi terreno.
A whiff of something can just take you back immediately to your childhood and bypasses your conscious thought altogether. And so that's what this song talks about. It says, I was far from home in a strange place when an aroma of chilies took me back to my ranch.
Mi abuela amasando tortillas, olor a chiles, olor a infancia, tantos años borrados por nada más que una fragancia.
If I could somehow produce that smell of roasting green chilies that permeates all of Albuquerque in September and have that piped in, that would be amazing. The thing about chilies too is that it's something that's very strongly identified with Mexico, and so I kind of wrote it from the perspective of an immigrant farmer in this country who's used to being bad-mouthed and trashed on TV and disrespected, and yet the people doing the disrespecting are those who live off of the fruits of their labor, who eat the fruit that I pick for them. I put in this line, it says, when I turn on my stove, it's like a candle on the altar where I prepare my offerings to love and friendship. And when I smell that garlic, when I put in the garlic and smell that fascinating aroma, I feel the presence of the ancestors with me across the ages.
I feel that our meals as a family and when we share them with friends are a way of connecting us to one another and sharing and being generous. I feel that in life it's really important to give back. And one of the ways that we give back is by sharing our food.
Con permiso, quiero saber por qué con tanta abundancia hay gente sin nada.
The table is laden with food. It's an embarrassment of food. For some there's veal, for some there's just bread and cheese, for some not even that. They wait for crumbs. For some there's tenderness, for some there's not so much of that. For some there's not even a kiss at the end of the day.
Que en este mundo tan fecundo haya gente sin nada.
In the midst of all this abundance, there are still people that have nothing. And it's not a lack of production. It's not because we don't produce enough food.
La mesa repleta, un derroche de comida, la gente reunida, la familia completa.
The tamal was invented by the Indians in Mexico, and when the conquest arrived, the priests fell in love with it. They thought it was the most delicious thing. So it got spread all over the Spanish Empire, from the tip of Patagonia to all the way to the US, as well as to the Philippines. So this one thing that kind of ties everybody together.
¡Qué descubrimiento! ¡Qué exquisitez! No van a creer lo rico que es. Tienen que probarlo, sé que les va a gustar. Envoltura de hoja tiene un regalo. Tal, tal, la, la. Tal, tal, la, la. Tal, tal, la, la.
there's a way in which music allows me to connect one-on-one with everybody in the audience in its miraculous, magical way, right? That's how I feel. I feel like I'm singing for each and every person.
Rosi has always been my most ardent supporter, and she's always believed in me. This would have never happened without Rosi.
Chocolate negro, chocolate oscuro, dulce como un beso, es delirio puro.
I was very inspired by Brian's gift and felt that that was a way of connecting us to the world, and it allowed us, and me in particular, I'll speak for myself, I know for him as well, to live a life with meaning.
Muchísimas gracias, Sabor y Memoria. Thank you so much, Boston Public Quartet.
Rosi is the best partner I could hope for, and after all these years, we still like each other and love each other and support each other. And this work is definitely a product of a labor of love of both of ours.